Dear learners, on the platform of MOOCs, now we are going to continue in the personal system that we find in the United States of America. I am Professor Muhammad Nafis Ahmad Ansari from Department of Political Science of Aligarh Muslim University. In the last lecture, we have traced the history of the personal system that United States of America was having. We have seen that in America, when they adopted a constitution in 1789, after that, they had a system which was known as the spoil system. In this spoil system, political interference was very important, and every appointment has related to political affiliations. There was no proper system of recruitment. There was no proper system of the of training. There is no proper system of having a promotions. All these things are totally based on the political affiliations. But a change that we have seen started in United States of America in 1881 incident where President Garfield was assassinated by Charles K2. Then demand of reforms had started in the United States of America. A number of the committees and commissions was constituted which helped in change and reforms in the civil services in the United States of America. One of the important was the act which is known as the Pendleton Act, which was passed in 1883. Then there is Brownlow Committee report. There is a first Hoover, second Hoover Commission report or Hatch Committee report. All these has contributed in the reforms of the civil services United States of America. There is a central personal agency in United States of America. In 1978, United States of American Civil Services Commission held a prominent positions as the central personal agency responsible for managing the federal civil services. In India, that we find that our constitution has created a central personal agency which is known as the Union Public Service Commission. We go through the chapter 2 part 14 of the constitution. Under article 315 we have an Union Public Service Commission. Same in United States of America, when the reforms was brought, and after that they have established an agency which is known as United States Civil Services Commission. But until after this 78 is the point where this has existed in the form of appointment. This comprised of three commissioners appointed by the president, approved by the Senate, and the commission's role include a wide range of functioning such as classification, recruitment, promotion, training, pay, and service conditions. Personal research and more activities that was carried out by United States Civil Service Commission before 1978. One of its key responsibility was to uphold the merit system established by Pendleton Act, which aimed to ensure that federal employees were selected based on merit rather than political influence. So these commissions was promptly taking actions on the basis of a competitive examinations only where the selection has to be done. No influence from any political leaders was been accepted by this commission. However, despite this important role, the commission was not always effective in providing support to the president in personal matters and safeguarding the merit system. This led to the passage of Civil Services Reform Act 1978. Very important act in the history of United States of America. Civil services reforms that is to be incorporated, that has to be initiated. This act was passed in 1978, which sought to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the federal civil service system. Under the Civil Services Reform Act, the three-member of bipartisan United States Civil Service Commission was abolished, which was existed since the adoptions of Pendleton Act. This was abolished and it was replaced with three separate independent agencies. So one agency was doing all the activities related to the public service work. This agency, which was known as the United States of America Public Service Commission, this was been abolished and been replaced with the office which is known as the Office of Personnel Management, OPM, the Merit System of Protection Board, MSPB, and the Federal Labor Relation Authority, EFFLRA. Each of these agencies were assigned specific roles and responsibility to create more streamlined and effective management of the federal workforce. This has reform actually was required because after getting a constitution and creating a United States of America, they were having a very few numbers of the civil service working in the administration in the beginning, but gradually the passing of the time, when more and more started states becoming a part, which was in the beginning only 13 and gradually increased and reached to the 50 states as a part of the United States of America, the work of the United States of America increased, the functioning of the government increased, new policy programs is initiated, welfare activities has been carried out. So there was a huge number of recruitment was carried out, and that recruitment was started. It becomes very difficult for single agencies to look after the every function of the personnel system. Because of that, there was requirement of reforms that is to be brought, so that this system which was collapsing because of overload has to be maintained properly. So finally this 1978 reform acts was passed, and that reform says that this one agency, this is known as which is known as the United States of America Public Service Commission, has to be abolished, and for that work which was assigned to them will be divided into three parts. One will be carried out by the Personal Management OPM, other by the Merit System Protection Board MSPB, and Labor Relation Authority, the third FLRA. The Office of the Personnel Management main function is to oversee federal personnel system and ensure that the federal employees are selected based on merit and free from political influence. OPM oversees the federal personnel system and ensures that the federal employees are selected based on merit and free from political influence. The Office of the Personnel Management is the central personnel agency in the United States of America. It manages the federal civil services and determines the directions of the development of the merit system. Is assumed all functions except the quasi judicial of the former United States Civil Services Commission. It that means the whatever the function that was carried out by the before 1978 by United States Civil Services Commission, that been taken by this agency which is known as the OPM, and only the quasi judicial, that is the nature of function, is been not been there in their purview. It's a responsibility actually when we try to specify, then it includes preparing personal policies, rules, regulations, administrating civil services examinations, recruiting and promoting civil servants, development and training of employees, personal investigations, personal programs evaluations, administrating retirement and insurance programs, providing guidelines to other personal agencies. By this we can understand that this agency is created with a very important functions which is to be performed. So this Office of the Personnel Management actually sharing maximum burden which is related to the public services work. There, right from the system of the examinations, then there is a system training, then we say the evaluation, their performance, and also the retirement that is there, that is been a part of the civil services personnel, is to be taken care of. This OPM is headed by a director. He is appointed by the president directly. So this was a very important position. But because this director was not been recommended by any person, but it was directly appointed by the president with the consent of the Senate. Take the approval of the Senate, that is the system in United States of America, that every appointment has to be given the approval by the Senate. His terms of office was the 4 years. So this was tenure based office where 4 years time was given, and this person who is not a director will be appointed by the president directly. Second agency, which is known as the Merit System Protection Board, MSPB, serves as a neutral quasi judicial independent board to protect the federal merit system and investigate any alleged violation of the civil services law. This means that this agency is the agency which is just like a judicial nature of functions to be carried out. The Merit System of Protection Board MSPB assumes the quasi judicial functions of the former United States Civil Services Commissions. So other part of the functions which was there in the United States Civil Services function, other than which is given the OPM, it was the judicial, quasi judicial nature of the function, and that came into this board which is known as the Merit System Protection Board. It is the watchdog agency of the federal civil services merit system and protects federal employees from abuses and prohibit personal practices. It helps and adjudicate appeals by the federal employees and adverse personal actions like removal, suspension, and demotions. So this agency is taking care of every grievances that is been with the civil servants. If there anything is happening to the civil servant, for example, he has been removed from one office, been then in that circumstances he feels injustice has been done. This agency is, which is known as MSPB, take care of it. If the person is suspended because of any reason, he is having the right to approach this Merit System Protection Board, and Merit System Protection Board will go through this case and will determine whether the action is a right or not. It has the authority to enforce its decision and to order corrective and disciplinary action. This is the very important area, very important authority which is assigned to MSPP. It is not only a recommending body, but it is a body which has a power to issue an action in the system of reforms. So when anything that is happened against the civil servants will be protected by the decision of this board. The MSPP consists of three members. They are appointed by the President of the United States of America. So what we have seen in OPM, same here is that the members are three here, and all these members are appointed by the President of the United States of America directly, and the system that is there, the approval of the Senate is required. So the appointment is made by the President with the approval of the Senate. Their team of office is seven office having 7 years of tenure. So these three members who are appointed as the member of the MSPP, their tenure is of 7 years. Like the former Civil Service Commission, it is also a bipartisan in composition. Within the MSPBs, an Office of Special Counsel (OSC) was created. Its function as an independent investigating and precautionary agency and legitimate before the MSPP. Its main role is to protect the employees from prohibited personal practices, especially reprisal for whistleblowing, that is the reporting on waste, fraud, and corruption of an administrative agency. Such employees are called whistleblowers and are protected from any forms of harassment in return for information on agencies abuse. So there is a spying type of activities is being carried out by this agency with the help of one of the council which is known as the Office of a Special Counsel. And this council takes the help of the personal peoples in the areas for gathering informations. And not only they getting informations, but these prisoners are also being protected so that they may not be harmed by anyone by this office which is known as the OSC. Then Federal Labor Relation Authority. This is the third important agency which was created in the United States of America in the reforms after 1978. The FLRA, on the other hand, is responsible for overseeing federal labor relations and ensure that the employees have the right to join unions and engage in collective bargaining. There is a freedom that is given to the employees, that these laborers, they are having a right to have their own association and unions, and these unions can have discussions with the government and demands for the welfare of these people, their employees. These reforms aim to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the federal civil services system, providing better services to the American people and promoting fair and equal employment opportunities for all individuals. Equality before law, that is the things that is to be adopted. The Federal Labor Relation Authority was set up to consolidate the central policy making function in federal labor management relations. It administrators the Federal Service Labor Management Relations under the Provision Civil Services Reform Act 1978. So, whatever the management is required for establishing a better relationship with the laborers or the civil servant, this agency is playing a very important role, very vital role for the keeping a cordial relationship and management of the civil services. The FLR consists of three members, same as what we have seen in the previous board also. Here also there is three members, and all these three members are again appointed by the President of United States of America. And as the system I told you before, whatever appointment is made, that has to be given approval by the Senate. Their term of office is 5 years. Here they are given the appointment for a term of 5 years. Within the FLRA, there are two more entities, namely the Office of General Counsel OGC and the Federal Service Impasses Panel FSIP. So there is a Federal Labor Relation Authority, and that authority is assisted by two sub offices, which is known as OGC and FSIP. The OGC is investigates and prosecute unfair labor practices. This is a specific function that is assigned to OGC, that investigation has to be done and prosecute unfair labor practices. And this FSIP, that is the Federal Service Impasses Panel, they provide assistance in resolving negotiation impasses between agencies and the unions. That is the management and cordial relations functioning is being assigned to FSIP with the agencies and the union. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. This is another agency that has been created after 1978. Creating these three separate agencies with the specific roles and responsibilities has helped streamlining the management of the federal workforce and ensured that the merit system is upheld. This had also led to more transparent and accountable federal civil services, helping to build trust and confidence in the government and its employees. It is very essential that there must be a confidence in the employees, there must be a transparency in the system, there must be accountability in the civil services, and for the in the modernization of the system in the functioning of the government. These reforms was significant step towards promoting fair and equal employment opportunities for all individuals within the federal civil services. By creating separate agencies with specific roles, the management of federal workforce was improved, leading to better services to American people. So when there was one agency, that agency I told you that later on, when the number of the employees in the federal services increased, where the civil servant number has gradually increased because of the increase of the function government, the workload has been increased, and that this agency, single agency, which was known as the United States of America Civil Services, was not finding to be efficient. And when the reforms took place in 1978, that has improved the system much better. Additionally, the increased focus on upholding the merit system has helped to ensure that the federal employees are selected based on their qualification and abilities rather than political connections. This has also led to more transparent and accountable federal civil service, helping to build trust and confidence. Overall, the creation of these three separate and independent agencies through Civil Services Reform Act 1978 has positively impacted in the federal civil services system in the United States of America. It has helped to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the personnel management, promote fair employment practice, and uphold the merit system. These agencies continue to play the crucial role in ensuring that the federal workforce operates in a fair and accountable and transparent manner, thus supporting the overall goals of the government and serve an American people. The classification of the civil services is concerned, the USA has the position of classification system as against the rank classification system. So this rank position, these are two classification which is mostly been accepted most of the world. But here in United States of America, the position classification the system is against the rank classification, which is prevalent in UK, France, and India. Under the US system of position classification, the civil services positions are classified on the basis of duties and responsibility and qualifications. That means when they are being recruited, there is no specific designations is given them. Whatever duties, responsibilities assigned to them, that decide their position, their salaries, and other things. The Classification Act of 1923 provide for the first federal classification programs in United States of America. It defined grades, qualifications, and salary ranges. This act was revised in 1949. The Revised Classification Act of 1949 classified the federal employees in United States into five services. Classification and made the services of United federal system into five services. Professional and scientific, number one. Sub-professional, scientific, number two. Clerical, administrative, and physical, number three. Custodial, number four. And the last was the mechanical services. The professionals are part of Senior Executive Services, SES. The SES was created by the Civil Service Reform Act in 1978 on the recommendation of Second Hoover Commission of 1955 and became operational in 1979. It is a blend of both the specialist and the generalist and consists of an elite class of managers outside the regular merit system. It covers about 9,000 senior policy making and supervisory executive branch positions that were earlier classified as service. They fall in the category of accepted service as against the competitive service, that is the classified service. The accepted service positions are outside the scope of civil services laws and are filled by the appointment without any examination. That is system which is there that differs in this system. Recruitment, the OPM conducts civil services examination for federal jobs. The examinations are practical in nature. There are four types of examination: written test, oral test, performance test, and ranking test. That is evaluation of the candidate on the basis of their educations, training, and experiences. The examinations are either assembled or unassembled, as they are been called in administrative phraseology of the USA. In the case of assembled examination, candidates are tested simultaneously in a large groups at a designated place. It is a written examination and is used for filling positions of a clerical nature. In the case of unassembled examination, the candidates are tested individually and separately. There is no formal examinations and these selections is by means of interview and testimony. It is used for filling the higher position. So because the clerical, so we find that the clerical position where it is to be filled, it is something which in a huge number. When we say the position to be filled of higher position, their system of examination of the formal examination system. The federal services entrance and professional administrative career examinations are the two major examinations. No definite educational qualification is prescribed. Anybody can enter into civil service practice. He qualifies in the competitive examinations. So there is no age bar, there is no qualification, there is specific qualification. Only if they are being appearing in the competitive examinations and if they are qualified, they are being eligible for that particular positions. However, residential qualification has to be fulfilled. Candidates who pass the examination for particular jobs are placed on a list of order of their grades. However, extra points are granted to the rating of veterans, 5 points, disabled veterans, 10 points, and certain dependents veterans. When we say the training in United States of America, they have a developed system of both pre-entry training and in-service training. Both forms of pre-entry and training in United States of America's internship and apprenticeship. Internship is concerned with administrative or professional work, while the apprenticeship is concerned with the trade and craft skills. The Office of the Personnel Management, federal agencies, universities, and specialized institutions are involved in training of civil services. The OPM is the responsible for overall supervision and coordination of training programs. In Government Employees Training Act, which is been passed in 1958, has given the system where there was a proper policy for the purpose of the training. The act authorized the federal agency to spend money on training their personals. It laid down no federal agency could spend more than 1% of the budget on training and personnel, and no civil servant could participate in training courses that lasted more than 1 year. It also authorized the use of outside institutions for training services. So there is a proper system has been developed for the purpose of the training. So finally, what in conclusion, what we find that the administrative system of the United States of America is unique and complex system that is constantly evolving to meet the country's changing needs. Its features such as the separation of powers, federalism, and protection of individual rights are crucial maintaining a balance in democracy and other means of the agencies. While there are certain areas for improvement, the USA administrative system remains a cornerstone of country's success and will continues to play a vital role in shaping the future. So we can say that the US administrative system is known for its bureaucratic structure with a vast network of federal agencies and departments responsible for implementing and enforcing the laws and regulations. This bureaucracy is often been criticized for being slow and inefficient, but it also serves as a vital mechanism for implementing policies and programs of United States of America.